Not with words, but with a hatchet. They called her insane, dangerous, a criminal. But too many. She was a hero, a symbol of moral rage and righteous rebellion. This is the story of Carrie Nation, the woman who turned grief into war and shattered America's drinking culture, one saloon at a time. Carrie Amelia Moore was born in 1846 in Kentucky. She grew up in the shadow of the Civil War, surrounded by death, chaos, and despair. But her real battle began at home. Carrie's family moved frequently. Her mother struggled with mental illness. Young Carrie clung to her faith, finding comfort in the Bible and a sense of moral duty. And then she met the man who would change everything. At 21, Carrie married Charles Gloyd. A war veteran, a physician, and an alcoholic, Charles drank heavily, too much. Carrie prayed, pleaded, suffered, and eventually she left him, pregnant, alone. A few months later, Charles was dead. Alcohol had killed her husband. But this wasn't just grief. It was betrayal. By a man. By society. And most of all, by the bottle. Carrie never forgot Charles's fate. She poured her sorrow into faith, but not in silence. She remarried, moved to Kansas, and became a teacher and a preacher's wife. But inside, her anger burned. By the late 1800s, Kansas was officially a dry state. Alcohol was illegal. But in reality, saloons were everywhere. Police took bribes. Laws meant nothing. Carrie saw it all, and her blood boiled. In 1899, she had a vision. During prayer, clear divine, commanding, take something in your hand and throw it at these places of evil. So she picked up a stone, walked into a bar, and smashed every bottle in sight. Not a crime, but justice. By 1900, Carrie upgraded her weapon. Stones were weak. But a hatchet? That became her signature. Thus began her hatchetations. She stormed into saloons, preached loudly, read from the Bible, and destroyed everything. Men, I have come to save you from this curse. Once, she wrecked bars in a single day. Another time, she leveled an entire tavern on her own. Bar owners tried to stop her. Police arrested her again and again. Jurors laughed in court. But Carrie, she always came back stronger angrier. You can break my body, but I'll return stronger. I fear no one, but God. Carrie quickly became a national figure. She joined the Women's Christian Temperance Union, but clashed with their gentle approach. Carrie wanted action, not petitions, not meetings, destruction. She sold souvenir hatchets, started her own newspaper, The Hatchet, and traveled across the U.S., preaching her rage, every speech, fire and brimstone, every gesture, a declaration of war. Alcohol is the enemy of peace. It kills souls. And I will fight it with all my strength. But the law fought back. She was arrested over 30 times. Once, she spent 27 days in jail for a single strike. Did she stop? Never. But behind the crusade was a woman. A woman who wore her grief like armor. Carrie's war on alcohol wasn't just about faith. It was vengeance. For her husband. For every child who watched their father fall apart. For every wife beaten by a drunk man. As her fame grew, so did her enemies. She was mocked, spit on, threatened. But she never wavered. In her final years, her health declined. Support faded. But she never gave up the fight. In 1911, Carrie collapsed during a speech. She died soon after, at 64 years old. Her final words: "I have done what I could. Carrie Nation didn't live to see ultimate victory. But her efforts weren't in vain." 9 years after her death, Prohibition became law. Alcohol was banned across the United States. Carrie won. She made the nation listen. She turned pain into protest, grief into action, and the hatchet into a symbol of rebellion. Carrie Nation wasn't perfect. She was harsh, sometimes violent. But she fought a war no one else dared to. So next time you raise a glass, remember the woman who smashed thousands